Well, hello everybody, it's Danny and Wanda back from Deepsouth Homestead. Today, guys, is the update on the two tubs that had the old cattle manure versus the fresh cattle manure. So let's move over and let's talk about that just a little bit. Okay, the one on the right here, this is the old manure that we had from 30 years ago. This one was our tub of fresh cow manure, and I say fresh, it's a month old. I just scooped it up out of the barn where the cows was. Some of it's fresh, some of it's a month old. I mean, it just is in the stall. I'm looking at both of these here. We had to replant the beans in both of them because, guys, we've been 100-something degree temperature out here, plus the beans were many years old. We were trying to see if we had any herbicides in any one of these or anything like that. There appears to be no herbicide problems with this. The old manure is good. The fresh manure, no herbicide issues in it because the beans look really good. Beans are usually one of the first things to have a problem with Grazon or Remedy or 2,4-D. If there's anything like that in there, it would be the first ones to show up. We see no problems with these. Now, these are called butter peas. We've grown them in containers before. That's the reason we knew we would try them, because they've done very well. Now, the aged manure, the butter peas look really good in it. Absolutely no fertilizer has been added to this. This is 30-year-old aged manure. No fertilizer, none whatsoever. This one here is the fresh cow manure. Absolutely zero fertilizer has been added to it. Now, the reason these two are smaller than this one is the deer came by and they decided to have a meal and they ate them off, and we wasn't expecting that. So we put these wire cages up here with the agrifab around it blowing, and so far the deer have left them alone. We do anticipate having to do something else because they will come and nibble the leaves off the ends of them out here. But hopefully we're going to be able to put some ribbons and stuff up here and try to keep the deer away from them so we can actually finish this experiment here. Now, these are cattle mineral tubs. We have cattle on 2 different farms, and we get mineral tubs, and rather than throw them away, we take them and we use them to grow in. Now, believe it or not, both of these tubs were almost full whenever I put the soil in them along with the cow manure. Now, what we do with our mineral tubs, I'm going to take you and show you right here. I come up, because people ask me this all the time, I come up 4 inches from the bottom and I drill a 1/4-inch hole. I drill like 4 or 5 of them spaced equally around the tub. I do it on all of them. This one here has them in it right here, and then there's another around there. What that does is it lets the tub at the bottom hold water up to 4 inches, and then once it gets over that point, everything from here up is the root growth of the plant, and the water will run out. And the roots in the plants don't get waterlogged, but yet they always have water. Because we may not water every day. We may water twice a week, or it depends on if it's raining outside. If it's raining, I have seen these tubs fill up level full to the top of the tub when it's pouring down raining, and in an hour it's done back down where the dirt looks normal again. That is a normal occurrence to happen. That's no different than when you're in a field or anything else like that. Now, we do in the deep south down here have a massive problem with fire ants. Now, we talk about fire ants, we're talking about the imported fire ants. These things are literally from hell, I believe. we turn our blocks sideways on purpose. If you stand them up the other way, they're stronger to stand them the other way. But if you stand them the other way, the ants will build up in the holes of them. Even if you put a board on top of them, the ants will build up in the holes of them because the sun warms them up, and they like to come up to anything warm, and then they'll still get in your pots. So we lay them down flat ways, and we usually put a 2x on top of them. Not always, but we do, especially vegetables, we do that. And we have had very good success that way of keeping out the fire ants from being able to get into our tubs. One of the things that Wanda and I have learned here in the Deep South is that growing citrus can be very rewarding. Does it get cold? Yes, it gets cold here. Will it kill them? Yes, it will kill them here. We've lost many a citrus tree here to freezes in the past because we planted them in the ground. Now, since we began to use the mineral tubs, this is another form of a mineral tub, just a different company. We have started planting our citrus trees in these mineral tubs, and we have learned that we have tremendous success. Now, the trees don't get as large, I will say that, but they bear some wonderful, wonderful fruits on them. This is a Meyer lemon here that we've had here. Now, this pot has been here all summer long through the heat and everything. We water it once or twice a week. Come out here, the holes are drilled in the bottom of it just like the rest of them. It's up on concrete blocks. No board under this one. Hadn't had any problems yet. And we are having really good success with this. Now, we have another Meyer lemon here. I really believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe this was a dwarf that we bought. And it doesn't know what time of the year it is, because here we are. We're in September, the end of it, and look what it's doing. It's starting to bloom right here, over yonder. It's actually starting to bloom. It's cooling off a little bit, and the tree is tricked. It doesn't know what's going on. Now, will it make a lemon? Probably not this year, but we're going to let it go regardless and let it do what it's going to do. What we're probably going to do is later on this winter, we'll take all of our citrus trees, both here and at Deepsouth Homestead, and we move them indoors into a barn, and we cover them all with a tarpaulin in the barn in order to keep them from freezing in the barns. Now, one like this one right here has used up most of its soil down low in here now. I can probably grab this tree and it dry and just pick it up out of the tub, and when we do, we'll probably put some new dirt or new soil up underneath it and fill in a little bit around the top edges of it and repot the whole thing back up level again, because these do have a tendency to use the soil down, and the soil does get depleted. Now, you don't want to come in here and just like it is and start piling soil up in here, because if you do, you cover up the tree above its natural root ball, and that will actually smother the tree and kill it. I mean, that's one thing we don't want to do with the citrus trees. So we're at Pecan Grove right now, and this is the only 2 citrus trees we really have over here at Pecan Grove right now. Kind of doing a little bit of a test to see how it is. We're in an area here that gets no morning sun. It only gets sun in the very middle of the day because we're really surrounded by pine trees and this brush like this, as an experiment this summer through this intense heat to see how these citruses do, how the vegetables do. Now, at the end down here, we have a lot of different stuff that Ms. Wanda has been given as gifts and stuff like that. These things have been here all summer long, have had absolutely zero maintenance. Wanda, we was having the well put down here, and they were actually where the well was going to be put at, so Wanda just drug them over here under these trees, left them sitting on the ground, and they have had very little water. I mean, very little water, and yet they're still growing. I told Wanda, I said, man, that's kind of strange, and I come down here to check them, and technically they have all rooted into the ground is what has happened. So, like the rose bush here, it's into the ground. The mint into the ground. You know, all of these apple trees back here, got roots in the ground. I'm not going to tear them loose right now. The briars are rooted into the ground. So we're going to leave them for right now because they're not hurting one thing in the world. We'll just keep watering them right where they're at. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up a system here, and we're going to start raising some vegetables over here through the fall and see how it does under this canopy of trees right here, so that in the future we will know over here at Pecan Grove, do we want to use this system over here like we use at Deepsouth Homestead? Okay, what we've done here is we've brought 3 of our tubs from our high tunnel over there at Deepsouth Homestead and brought them over here and set them up. Now these were in the greenhouse over there that the trees had died in them. They had no water all summer long. This is like literally, there's been no water in this all summer long. It's just as dry can be. I mean, there is nothing, literally nothing in here. There's some old sweet potatoes left in here. I can see that. But there, guys, this is literally, you see the old potatoes left in there from when we grew slips. We'll get all that out of there. And what we're going to do is we're going to amend this soil. Since we've had the cow manure in this, both the old and the fresh, we didn't really see any difference between the old and the fresh. Everybody says, oh, fresh cow manure has to be composted or it'll burn your plants up. There's the results right there. I mean, fresh, 30 years old, it has not burnt my plants up. Both of them look identical to me. Had the deer not eat them off, they would have been identical. So we will get the manure. We will re-amend these pots here. We have room in the top. We've got this much room in here to add manure in all 3 of them, and turn them into that and begin to soak them down real good with water before we ever plant in them, to let them get good and hydrated. Because believe it or not, when you have this type of mixture, it takes a lot of water. Probably one of these pots will probably take 20 gallons of water to hydrate it. And this one here is as hard as a rock. I mean, you can't even, y'all have to get the shovel and break that one up. This one here, you can see how it's separated from around the edges of the tub. That's how hard and dry it is, because it's had no moisture in it. I mean, it's just like, it's just powder. There are no worms in it, I'm pretty sure. It's all dried out, they've all died. So what we'll be doing is we'll put the manure in, and I will probably go back to town and get some worms and some fishing worms in some containers, and I will bring them here, and I will put 1 container of worms in each one of these, and take my hands, once I break this up, get it all ready, we'll put them in the soil. And because the just plain manure has done so well, I will put just manure in here. I won't put any other fertilizers right now. And then I'll do a soil test on it, and I'll see if I need to add any lime, or I didn't add any lime to either one of them, but I'll check and see where we're at with our pH and our soil analysis to see how these do. Now what we've done is we brought some extra pots down here. These are some mineral tubs that we had from Deepsouth Homestead. Some of them the cows get a little rough on them and break them up. I really don't care. It doesn't matter to me. The plant doesn't know any different on the pot. Some of them were used before, so we got some holes drilled in them. Some of them, like this one, doesn't have any holes in it, so we'll have to drill some holes in that one. This one has holes in it. This one does not have any holes in it, so we'll have to drill some holes in them. Now, the question is probably going to be asked, what do I put in the bottom of them? I will do one of 3 or 4 different things. I will either come in here and I'll put a mixture. Now, I use a mixture of either sand or gravel, or, now that I have my Danny corn, I will put a mixture of corn cobs in the bottom of it, because see, we've been throwing our corn cobs with the tips on them into our chickens, and remember I told you the nitrogen sticks that we were making? The corn cobs in the chicken pen have been rolling around in the chicken manure, And what I'll do is I'll bring those corn cobs over here and place them all in the bottoms of this pot right here. And then I will put a little bit of sand in on top of them and dirt or soil. And then we will put our mixture that we put in on top of it. And our mixture will consist of Schultz potting soil and just regular soil from our property here so that we have living microbes in it to begin, and cow manure. We're going to add all three of those things in here on top of our corn cobs that have the nitrogen from the chicken manure already in the bottom of it. And then we will hydrate them really, really good. And then when it gets cool enough, because today, believe it or not, today is the 24th of September. Our heat index today is supposed to go over 100 again today. So it's really a little too early for us to be putting anything like cabbages or broccolis or anything else like that out yet, because the days are just too hot for it. They'll bolt on us. So we're going to get everything ready. We're going to try to go ahead and finish filling up the rest of this right here with pots. And we're going to try to get them all amended, get them all hydrated. And guys, when it comes time for us to plant them, we'll bring you along and we'll show you the planting and what we're planting and how we're doing it. And then we're going to show you the results week by week as we go along through this journey. Thank you guys from Deepsouth Homestead.